I mean, we're not going to get too deep into it. You need to stay on the payload, right? You have to kind of keep a presence there. And if you're on defense, you need to have a presence on it to stop its progress across the map. And so that is one way, one option. Eventually, the defenders have to come to you and take a little bit of a fight. And so now we'll see the setups here, both of these teams with their rosters set. Does anything actually stand? Well, we do have Zupe on a Hanzo. That's interesting to at least start, but he's on the attacking side, so he can still swap out.
That means nothing. The attacking side means that. Oftentimes, though, you can run a Hanzo just to do that Sonic arrow out and see where everyone is and see what they're running. On defense, they're running an Ana, which is a little bit of a mix-up, but that's because these tanks want to sit up here on the perch. And yes, a healing orb is good, but Ana's healing output is so much better from a distance that that's why you see Ana on first point defense here.
Exactly, you get that range, the scoped heals and the deeps, and well, I always get excited for the sleeps as well. But we're definitely not going to be sleeping here because already the action coming through. Swoosh wanting to clear the high ground right out, and it looks like a fairly standard setup here for Boston Uprising, having those players on the rooftops to try and plink shots down at that payload.
Yeah, the tank mating dance kicks it off. We've seen that's how Dorado starts every single time. Both tanks go up, both tanks drop down, just seeing where everyone's out. And now you're going to see the DPS try to get to the back line. That's exactly what Lodge is looking for, but they're expecting.
Yep, ready for it. The D.Va is there to mine the back line to make sure that those squishy healers aren't going to get picked off too quickly. They are giving quite a bit of ground early on, but that's because they can still set up the defense here, Boston Uprising, around this archway here. So we should see them looking to try and take some kind of engagement fairly soon here.
You want to rotate on the defense there. You don't want to give up this progress up the archway for free because you want the cart dead in the center here. You want him to have to push either right or left side in the corridors, which is why we've even seen a Doomfist on this map because you don't want to be in the hallway with a Doomfist.
I thought those were style points. I thought there was style points. Right now, Boston Uprising, we've already had the nano out. And so some additional damage getting pumped out makes the target harder to kill as well. Logix, you can see him going to work, and he's used that pulse already. But there are so many kills coming in here for Florida Mayhem. They are getting the picks. It was mentioned on the desk. That's what you have to do. You got to get the kills. That's going to weaken the defense. And that allows you to just keep up the pressure like this. Logix, he's relentless.
2 down, 3 down. This should be first point. Now the big question is, how is Boston going to respond to the threat that is now Tavik on the Widowmaker? They know he's there. Offensively, you can set up on this perch, which is right above the payload right now, and try to get some pot shots in after your tanks are taking this high ground advantage. So we'll see what they want to try to respond to it. Maybe you can have your Soldier 76 do it, but that is a non-winning gambit.
You already have Dreamcaster for Boston kind of rotating over there onto that balcony. He has his tac visor up and ready to go, so we'll see when he decides to pull that. But for now, just poking. That was a very quick take at the first point, though. On Dorado, sometimes you can really see teams get stalled out there in that archway, but you got to give it to Florida Mayhem. They've done a very good job pushing the payload closer to the second point very quickly.
Yeah, they're just playing chicken. The rotation was just a little bit better for the offense than the defense was around that archway play. Now they're going to try to take the high ground here, some aggressive defensive tank play. So he gets in, gets out, has the orb on him, so it's no problem. Now, Boston does have a Valkyrie up, one of the most important and impactful ults in the game for the Mercy, which means essentially if you can get both reses off, you're fighting 8v6.
Yeah, that's the big one, and it's all going to be about his teammates not getting picked early. He wants to have 8v6. He doesn't want to be bringing them back up to 6v6. But Tavik having to play a bit of hot foot here. He's trying to stay alive because they could swap onto him at any point in time. Striker does pick off Zupe in the mix. That's a fantastic first kill, and there's that tactical visor. Both supports down, and that's going to mean that Florida, they have to peel back. They have to give space.
The tactical visor did take down the Mercy, but I have to question maybe it's better to hold on to that sometimes for an ulting Mercy because it's one of the most reliable ways to take her out of the sky. Like a moth to the flame, she is drawn to that fire of the wide scope. So we'll see if that ends up coming back to bite them. But if you can just see an opportunity to win a fight, essentially for free, it's hard to not take it.
These guys are paying very close attention to their ult economy right now, though. Both teams still rocking 3, soon to be having 4. It was really Dreamcaster with the tank visor in that last fight to do the damage. So waiting to see who's going to lose that game of chicken between the supports. Who's going to pop Valkyrie first? Who's going to be forced to use Transcendence? Because that's going to make the difference here. Striker thought he was going to go for the pulse bomb there in the group of them. That would have been big.
Yeah, they do end up popping the Valkyrie on both sides of things here. You see the instant resurrection on Akalios who had fallen. I imagine Tavik gets brought back. He does. Meanwhile, there is a self-destruct that took down Neko. He's brought back to life. Now these deaths will be permanent.
And Neko is gone, and he loses the opportunity to use his Transcendence as well. Striker picks Tavik out of the air, though. Big kill, and the follow-up pulse. Striker already styling. I'm loving it, and they continue to make progress here, though, Florida. He's getting kills, but the beefy targets, they're actually on the payload.
I really like that the offense has kept a constant pressure on this payload. There's always a body there, and Boston maybe not in ideal situations to defend, have just had to drop people down here and not having to sacrifice position to do so.
And Zebasai is just feeding right now, generating ult percentage. Getting those heals on the Manitin, that's a good job on Manitin's part, making sure that his healers can start preparing for their ults. so Manhattan, this is it. There's the dive to high ground, putting the pressure on here. Don't want to let Dreamcaster get too comfortable, and he's dancing left and right, and he's still somehow alive. The Biotic Field doing a fantastic job of keeping him up.
And meanwhile, Tvik did take down Kellex, so that is a huge source of healing already gone. There's another kill. They've not really had a great answer to Tvik right now. He's doing everything that he wants. Logix takes a walk off the edge somewhere, or maybe he got himself with his own pulse bomb possibly, but it's still Tvik. They're sending tanks after him, but it's been not effective.
Talking about a game of chicken there, Manhattan there to back up Tvik. That is so important. You need your tanks to get up there to the key targets and provide support. Tvik getting topped up as well. But I love how he's just staring down the barrel, you know, like, okay, who's gonna drop the defense matrix first here? Kalios, are you gonna veer off, or are you really gonna come after me here?
Kellex has spent about the last 30 of the last 40 seconds in spawn. They are going after him extremely hard. That life on Mercy has been miserable for him so far. This isn't a point where you always want to run an offensive Widowmaker, but if you're Tvik, who's literally on fire right now, you just stick at it.
You get that damage boost coming in from Zepasai as well if he wants it. And he is already ready for this flank. He misses the headshot, though. There was an opportunity to do some serious damage to Gamsu, perhaps even slow him down a little bit. Instead, Gamsu just going to be playing around in the shield. That's his playground. That's his safe space, you know, the little bubble.
It's a cool angle, though. If they don't see you coming there, then you get back on that ledge. I think you wanted to grapple up there had there been no tank or no presence over there. And then you're shooting from behind them, and you still have an escape path onto the cart to the rest of your team.
Well, we're getting close to that 2-minute mark now. Florida, they've made pretty decent progress, but on this third point with the spawn located right on top of it practically, it's very difficult now to make this push happen for Florida. And Tvik already going for the roster change there, for the hero change. Going to be on that McCree.
See, most of them posturing up right side. That silhouette in the distance is going to be their tracer to try to pull them off. Ideally, you want to get up on the right side. That's where the defense is going to be entrenched. That is their defender's advantage. But now they're just going to put pressure on the cart, and it's got them this far.
Keeping an eye on Tvik right now, because he's definitely going to be the one looking to do the damage. Flash gets eaten up, and so no free kill for him there, and he has to give ground. This is starting to get a little dicey here for Florida, down to 1:30. In that first fight, that poke did not go the way that they wanted, and Tvik really had no opportunity to generate any ult charge there at all.
They're going halfway to a composition which is meant to catch the dive. In the pregame, we talked a little bit that Boston is known as a dive team, always wants to be aggressive even on their defensive play. Now to catch that dive, McCree is good, a Junkrat is good, and that's what we saw played against them yesterday from New York. So Florida transitioning partially into that with the McCree play.
Showing some versatility, and that's interesting to see considering they are the roster with only 6. There we go, Tvik dashes out, saves himself from the bomb in the nick of time. Striker almost pulling off the big play, but Tvik just too quick for him. And now it's all on Striker, kind of pestering here in the background. He's going to get tickled a bit before having to give out.
They do end up resurrecting Tvik, though, so Striker has to be weary of these flashbangs as they duel below us. Now Casper waiting for a moment to find this blade. May not even need it right now. They've already invested a Valkyrie.
Whoa, nice pick from Dream, though. Gets the dash and follow-up kill on Zupe as well, single-handedly eliminating those backlines players. And while this is looking like a fantastic turnaround here for Boston, they have really locked down this third point. Only 30 seconds left for Florida Mayhem to make the play.
It was fantastic. They used their Valkyrie there, but look at all the healing that Kellex has done since then. Already at 41%, so if this goes into a long, drawn-out battle, which it very well may, he could get up to another Valkyrie, a big advantage over Zebasai's charge, which is at 17% of his own Valkyrie.
And this is actually causing Florida to doubt themselves a little bit here. Tvik, again, with the changes, swapped over to the Junkrat, just not able to get any kind of momentum going there with the McCree, and so we'll have to see if it works out. High ground occupied by Boston, and Dream Casper is going to go straight in, and once again, straight onto the supports. Tvik, no chance for him to shine whatsoever. And this is just a Dream Casper show right now between him and Striker. They've done a fantastic job of getting on top of the squishies.
Both supports now down for Mayhem, so it's all over but the crying. Maybe they can get someone on here for a miracle and try to stall some out, waiting for their supports to come back in, but it is a lone scientist on the payload. That's going to be a nice defense from the Boston Uprising.
That, it looks like, or it feels just a little bit like Boston. They needed some time to warm up there almost. The pieces were there for the first and second point, but it just weren't quite able to get it to gel. But on that third point, that was a total shift, a total turnaround.
Yeah, I think Florida needs to take a little advice from Mike Ehrmantraut of Breaking Bad fame. No half measures here. They only went to a Junkrat one time. They had a McCree one time. Logix at that point might have to switch off of it. We've seen the McCree and Junkrat be so good at catching the dive that Boston gave, and they only did one of the two heroes every time. If you know they're going to dive, you really have to set yourself up compositionally to be able to catch it correctly.
And so we will be swapping the signs, of course. Now the countdown has begun, and we can see just a little bit of a glimpse there at Kellex's screen, at least. Maybe the Lucio will get locked in. I mean, as far as Boston are concerned now, do you think that they are the ones who have that momentum going? Is it going to be Florida on the back foot here going into the second half?
Well, where Boston struggled in their very typical composition of running dive was generally on the defense. So offensively, dive is usually a better thing to work with, and this map in particular has some angles you can take on the dive, and I would definitely favor Boston here, which is surprising. As we mentioned coming into this was a good map for Florida yesterday. It was a map that they were able to actually take away from the Spitfire, so it gets a little dicey if they drop this first one.
Yeah, this is where you want that strong start. Both of these teams lost their first matches yesterday as well, so keep that in mind. They're rocking an 0-1 record, and so you want to be, you don't want that to continue. You do not want to be down 0-2. You want that feel-good moment a little bit early on here in the league.
At the end of the match, one of these teams is going to have a better record than the Dallas Fuel.
That's mind-blowing.
Right?
That game earlier, if you missed it, check out the VODs for sure. That was so sick. The Hometown Heroes Valiant, man, they really took it to the Fuel today.
Florida's going to run Logix on the 76, and he really shined in that role. It's really nice to see Logix stepping out of just the idea of being a pure tracer, and they've asked him to do a lot, and he's definitely stepped up to the plate. Boston offensively going to open the door with 2 sniper heroes. Maybe that's just for the Sonic Arrow from Dreamcasper, but they want to put Striker on the Widow as well, so an interesting comp.
Keeping an eye on Dreamcasper. He does seem to be hanging in here, though. Don't see him really going back to spawn just yet, and so we might actually see it stick. He's hitting a couple of shots so far. He's up to 24% on the ult charge. But now it's a matter of just maintaining. They haven't been able to get rid of the man, Tvik, who's still hanging around out on the rooftops.
Well, you got to give Zupe a ton of credit for that because he has been hitting him with that long-range healing. He's been trying to be harassed by the Diva, but Zupe's keeping them alive. And so far, no pressure up top.
Oh! There it is.
That made me really anxious because it took way too long to actually fire that scatter shot. He follows it up by taking down the man who's been keeping people alive in Zupe. Zebo's going to bring him back to life knowing how important those supports are.
It is satisfying when Hanzo, you get that headshot with the arrows because it takes a little bit of time, right? So you're like, did I get it? Did I get it? Ah, yeah. Anna down for the dirt nap. Oh, Gamsu, he's got the Primal Rage. Definitely going to be holding on to that one. Instead, going to be feeding some ult charge over to his healers. Making sure that they're feeling pretty good about themselves. Neko just got the Transcendence going for himself. And Kelix, well, you can hear the wings. They're no longer deployed.
Casper really opened the door for him, so they had to stop worrying about the Tracer. Now he can shut down the door with an arrow. He's going to do it right to the right side while everyone else is watching left, so they only have to worry about one angle of aggress.
Pretty much using the Dragon Strike there to just buy more time to cut off that right entrance. Both of these teams are dealing with the choke points now, and Dreamcasper doesn't have to worry about that anymore. He just gets pummeled to death by Swoosh. But the point is still making progress. Manitin crouching on the side, trying to buy time, and he will get his mech back, and so that obviously makes that job a bit easier. But Gamsu, his target priority right now, he is on point. Him and Kalios just ganging up on Zebasai.
Yeah, Striker definitely picked up the slack there as they lost Dreamcasper early, and he continues to do so on the ground. And look at that, 3 swift eliminations from Gamsu. Him and Striker working that dive composition to perfection.
Just working together as a unit. I'm loving the communication here. A real shift. But that's what you need to be doing when you've got Mercy down low. When she has her ultimate, when Valkyrie is going, she is constantly regenerating HP as well. And so when you're trying to tickle her with your taser, it's not quite enough.
So often people talk about combos, oh, the DPS combo and the support combos, but when you're running dive, that Tracer and Winston, if they are on the same page, it is so much sustained damage that you can't run away from, and the initiation has to be there. You'll see often that the Winston will jump in and you have no idea where the Tracer is, and then she's from the other side like a Velociraptor.
Yes, soon the French Velociraptor. There we go! Zupe, he's gone, but he does get rezzed immediately by Zebasai. Very quick play there from the Mercy to keep her teammate, I guess, technically in the fight. And so Striker, you can see, I mean, he's just dancing around on the edges, just farming up a little bit more here, trying to keep the pressure on, and sure enough, he's right on top of it. Zupe gone again. Both kills of him, at least, going Striker's way.
It might be time to start switching into an idea of maybe catching the dive again right now, because they're really struggling with dealing with his very aggressive nature. A McCree or a Junkrat, even a Roadhog, which Dreamcasper has played before, as Manitin can play on the other side of things, to be able to just stop these flankers. And a Roadhog's also a really good counter against a Winston.
Exactly, get that hook, you can pull him out of position, get him out from under his shield. So that does add to the pressure. Kalios just jumping right in. Tvik will get the shot on Dreamcasper, that's huge. Putting a halt to that, and I believe the Dragon Blade had come out as well, and so no use out of that ultimate.
He is brought right back up. Kalios is trying to get back into his mech, and he's looking at the other pilot, Diva. Baby Diva battles go the way of Striker early on as he cleans up Manitin. Manitin brought back to life, but I have to think that this is actually actually coming in the way of Boston Uprising.
I'm really curious to see when Kalios decides to go for the self-destruct here. If he's going to make the call and make the use of it. It seems like they have the advantage, at least as far as the staggers are concerned, and the self-destruct, nothing there. However, for Manitin, no big kills, and right now, Boston, it feels like they are very much in control of the situation.
They're absolutely in control. Now they're going to try to hunt down this Zenyatta towards the end, but they don't want to give him any extra kills there as he peeks around the corner. They will take the push. They have to wait for this door to open, and, you know, doors in Overwatch, not great. That is one of the problems with getting split spawn like that. Nothing Zebo could do there as Striker, an unwelcome, welcoming party.
Padding the stats, getting a bit of the feel-good moment there. Thanks for the freebie. And now we're going to see, look exactly there, that white box, that's how far they have to push the payload to win this map, Boston Uprising, and that is not very far at all, so the pressure is really going to start ratcheting up here for Florida Mayhem. They have to hold, and here comes the initiate. Viva just flying right through, but swoosh, just gets obliterated immediately.
And Supe ends up popping the Transcend, but very patient from Casper, waits for that light to die out, and he will treat them all to the shiny side of his blade.
Yeah, it's also the sharp side, and that's not the side you really want to be experiencing if you're on Florida Mayhem. It's been too close to cut.
There is no side of a blade I want to experience, broadside or sharp side.
Oh, there we go. Kalios is the style. Logix just darts in, hoping to delay things just a little bit further. Zebasai kind of dancing on the edge, trying to keep his teammate alive, but that point, it is right on top of it, and they are not able to put a halt at all, Florida Mayhem. It will be Boston who pick up the first map, and they really turned it around. It looked a little shaky for them at the start of this, but they definitely brought it together with the comms at the end.
Mayhem was in a tough spot there on defense because ideally you want that high ground and you want your Soldier 76 to be able to rain down constant